All right, we should be live now. What's up, everybody? Ryan here from the DFS 5-Pack. I hope your Thursday is off to an amazing start. If you could do me a big favor, subscribe to the station if you're brand new to it. We're here talking daily fantasy sports on the regular. We got playoff baseball going. We are the midst of the NFL season, so it is a busy time with the NBA not far away. Click that thumbs up button if you can, and let's jump right into today's top picks for the Showdown slate tonight, which features the Rams at the Seahawks. So as far as Thursday night football goes, this has got to be one of the better games of the season, right? We got one of the better teams in the NFL in the Rams. You got a Seahawks team that's really struggling defensively, but still has one of the elite quarterbacks in the league. Hosting the Rams tonight, division rivals. This is a good game, so I'm excited to watch this one, and I doubt I am alone because I bet you a couple of you guys are excited as well. All right. So I got a special going today. We're in a really good mood. We are coasting in on week 5 right now. If you buy the NFL package today, which covers the rest of the season and the playoffs, I got a $50 rebate coming your way. That is for all brand new signups for the NFL package today. That is up through the website. This is the best day you've had to buy it all year long. Subscribe to the station if you're new to it, and let's start with the obvious like we always do on these Showdown slates. Mr. Matthew Stafford, quarterback, Los Angeles Rams. This is your KISS pick of the day, Occam's razor. He's going to be huge chalk. Very likely the most popular captain on the slate. Coming off a bad game. The Rams took it on the chin last week against the Cardinals. Look for them to bounce back in a decent way, at least offensively. I expect them to look good tonight. I think Stafford has himself a ho-hum solid game. If you're not going to captain him, I can see why you might like Russ. I probably wouldn't captain Cooper Kupp over him. Kupp is down to come back to earth, and I got some more reasons to why that might be later on. But I think he's probably your quote-unquote best bet at the captain position. It would be Darrell Henderson would be my alternate captain if you think they do really well running the ball, and we'll get into him momentarily. So you definitely want Stafford, though, no matter which way you view it. Next up, Russ Wilson. You guys know how this rolls. On these showdown slates, the quarterbacks are really tough fades, especially when the quarterbacks are good. Like Russell Wilson is really good. Matt Stafford is really good. I know that. Y'all know that. Get him in your lineup. That's why it's tough to play GPPs for me in some of these showdowns because you're like banking on one alternate pick. And if it doesn't work out, like you're out of the money. Like fading the quarterbacks is really, really tough to do. So a lot of times you feel like you're playing with 4 alternate positions as opposed to 6 because it's really tough to get away from the quarterbacks. You can get wild with the wide receivers and running backs, but that's a tough one. So you want Russ, you want Stafford. Both of these guys are really good. I expect these games to be a little bit higher scoring than they were last season. I feel like Seattle's offense is still good, but their defense is struggling. And the Rams obviously are better under Stafford than they are Goff. So get these quarterbacks in your lineups and move on from there. Next up, let's talk about Henderson. So I'll give Seattle a little bit of a break this year because they have played some pretty good offenses when it comes to running the ball. But it's only a little bit of a break. They've been atrocious against the run all season long. Look for Darrell Henderson to have a nice game today. So for a couple of reasons. One, again, we mentioned it twice up top. Seattle's been terrible against running backs this year. Everybody's rushed for at least 100 yards against them. Henderson, maybe not a bell cow in the mold of like a Derrick Henry or a healthy Christian McCaffrey or something like that, but he's the guy here in Los Angeles. We saw Sony Michel fumble. I think Michel only had 3 touches last week, and he fumbled on one of them. That's not going to get him any extra playing time. Henderson is the guy. He's the more viable passing back than Sony Michel. So this might be a few bucks heavy for what you expect out of him because you really don't envision a game in which Henderson gets 25 touches. However, if you really like the Rams in this game, then they might pound the run extra in the fourth quarter. If you feel like Seattle gets up big in this game, then Henderson might get a few PPR points. If you feel like the game is close, Henderson's the man. So while it's not bell cow situation because they aren't the team that's going to run it probably 30 or 40 times, if there was a game to do it, is this one. He's also very, very game script proof because it's hard to imagine the Rams having a bigger role for Michel this week coming off a week where he fumbled like that. No, it's not saying it's impossible. It's just not the likely scenario. Next up, let's talk about Travis Homer. So the big question for tonight's game is going to be the availability of Chris Carson, who appears to be, in all senses, firmly questionable. I mean, if I had to guess, I would guess that he plays, but I certainly don't know that. Now, if Carson is out, then Homer becomes a really good play because he's only $1,000. Alex Collins is the guy who's going to get the majority of the touches, but Travis Homer is going to be a little bit more heavily utilized in the passing game. You can see he's only got one carry all year, but if Carson is out, you could expect him to maybe get, I don't know, 4 carries on the ground or something like that. But he is also the PPR guy. So tell yourself a story on how you think the game works out. And for me, I expect the Rams to win this one. I think they're the better football team. I think they're very motivated coming off of a loss last week to a big-time division rival. And I think you see the best of the Rams tonight, which means I could picture a scenario where Seattle's down 10 in the fourth quarter or something like that and have to go a little pass heavy, which is where Travis Homer would definitely fill in for Alex Collins and very likely even be filling in for Chris Carson at that point. So if you tell yourself that story, I think Homer's even in play if Carson is out there, knowing he's not 100%. But a lot of this is really just baked into the price because the other options down here are awful today. This isn't like Monday when we got to take advantage of Justin Jackson at the minimum price, knowing that he was probably going to get a handful of touches. Travis Homer is 1,000, so that's 4 times more, but he's also like legit the only guy down here I have any interest in. And he is still a possible 0-point type of guy. Last up, let's talk about Van Jefferson. I think he ends up being relatively popular tonight. If you look at ownership projections this morning, like I'm seeing Robert Woods come in with more popularity than Van Jefferson. I don't think that's going to be true. I think the reason behind that is Robert Woods has been highly unproductive to start the year. That has been well noted. It's been Kupp. It's been Van Jefferson. Hell, Deshaun Jackson probably has half the yards Robert Woods does, and you barely even heard him. It all came on one play. But I think Van Jefferson, because of his price tag and the fact that he's literally averaging almost a full point more than Robert Woods, gets more love today. It's because of the price tag. I think if they're the same price, people are still going to rely on Old Faithful, a guy that we know has done it for a couple of seasons in this system, which is Robert Woods. But baked into the big price difference, which makes a huge, huge relevance and importance on a slate like this, I think Van Jefferson ends up being relatively popular today. And I think he's a good play. He's a talented young guy. He's developing chemistry with Stafford. He's getting a bigger role in this system. And more importantly than anything, it's the price. And I think I've already mentioned that a few times, so I'm just recovering things that I've already brought up. Now, the counter argument to this, even though I believe that Robert Woods won't get a lot of love tonight because he's been unproductive so far this season, I did read something that they are trying to get Robert Woods the ball more. Now, that could be a smokescreen. It could not mean anything. He may not just be open. He's not a young player anymore. Maybe he is fading at a younger age than some people. Possible. All these things are possible. Maybe Cooper Kupp is just that good that they haven't had to throw to Robert Woods, and they've been scoring a variety of ways, so they haven't had to target him. So if you're looking for a reason to buy into Robert Woods today, I think the price difference between him and Van Jefferson has him lower owned. They've talked about getting Woods the ball more, but that doesn't mean that it's going to happen. Some people talk about getting to the gym and they haven't been there in forever. That doesn't mean they're necessarily going to go that week. It could just be something that they're saying. So I like Van Jefferson in a perfect lineup, in an ideal lineup tonight. And I think he will be relatively popular because where else are you going in this price tag? He's got way more upside than the kicker, for example. That is what we got for Thursday Night Football, ladies and fellas. I hope you all have really good luck tonight and take down some serious cash. And we will see you again real soon. Thank you very much.